G'day guys, Fitcho here and welcome to my brand new F1 2018 career mode where we're going to be following my journey up through the junior formulas, hopefully all the way to Formula 1. Now, we begin this journey here in the European Formula 3 Championship where we have just joined the reigning team's champions, Prema Theodore Racing, to run their 6th car this season and their second under SMP colours. Of course, the other SMP back car is that of Robert Shwartzman, the reigning Toyota Racing Series champion, as well as a Ferrari back driver, and he's not the only Ferrari back driver here at the Prema team. In fact, 3 of the 6 drivers here have Ferrari backing. Chinese driver Guan Yu Zhou, heading into his 3rd season in this championship and his 2nd with the Prema team, is backed by Ferrari, as well as the young Kiwi Marcus Armstrong, who is stepping up to the European Formula 3 Championship this year after winning the Italian F4 season last year. We also have Ralph Aron returning to the team here at Prema. Of course, this is his 3rd season in the European Formula 3 Championship. He started out with Prema, he went to Hi-Tech for a season, and now he's back here at Prema. And finally, we have Mick Schumacher in his 2nd season with the team and in this championship. And of course, he is the son of Formula 1 legend and 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher. Now, in the preseason test, it looks like Motorpark is going to be our closest rival. They have a very, very impressive lineup, headed by Red Bull Jr. and Macau Grand Prix winner Dan Ticktum, as well as the German F4 champion Juri Vips. They also have South African Jonathan Aberdeen and Fabio Scherer on board. Hi-Tech Grand Prix actually have a bit of experience in their 2-car lineup, signing Alex Palau, who has raced in both GP3 and Formula 2, be stepping back down to the European Formula 3 Championship this year, and alongside him is Enam Ahmed, the reigning British Formula 3 champion. Carlin have retained both Jehan Daruvala and Ferdinand Habsburg for this season. Of course, Jehan Daruvala is backed by Force India, and they've also signed Sasha Fenestraz, the reigning Formula Renault champion. Of course, because of that championship win, he is now a Renault back driver, as well as Russian driver Nikita Troitsky. And finally, Van Amersfoort Racing have picked up Sophia Flörsch from the German F4 championship. Of course, the only female we do have in this field, alongside another German, Kayvan Andres, as well as Artem Petrov and Ben Hindley from the British F3 championship. So here we are on the grid at Silverstone for race number 1. Now, if you guys are new to the European Formula 3 Championship, how it works in real life is each race weekend consists of 3 30-minute races, as well as 2 qualifying sessions. And those qualifying sessions set the grid normally for 2 of the races, and then from one of the sessions, they take the second quickest times to set the grid for the 3rd and final race. Unfortunately, we can't exactly do that here on F1 2018, so each race weekend is going to consist of 3 25% races, each with their own qualifying session. Now, speaking of qualifying sessions, qualifying for race number 1 didn't exactly go to plan for us. We were within half a second of the pole time, but that's only managed us 12th place on the grid, while our teammate Ralph Aron has actually taken pole position with Robert Shwartzman alongside him on the front row of the grid, only 43 thousandths of a second separating the 2 Prema teammates. And Palau and Fenestraz on the 2nd row were also within a 10th of the pole time, very, very close at the pointy end of the field. In 5th place is Jehan Daruvala, just over a 10th off pole position. That's Juri Vips and Mick Schumacher in 6th and 7th place, and they actually tied the exact same time, the advantage going to Juri Vips this time because he set that lap earlier on in the session. Enam Ahmed starts out of 8th place, Dan Ticktum out of 9th. Then you have 3 Premas lining up in a row with Marcus Armstrong in 10th, Guan Yu Zhou in 11th, and myself in 12th. Then we have Jonathan Aberdeen and Ferdinand Habsburg just behind us. Just quickly, before we do get into this race, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe, and if you guys do go on to enjoy this video, make sure you do leave it a like. All support is greatly appreciated on this series, because I spent so many hours building this mod myself, getting it ready for this series, but that wouldn't have been possible without a friend from Twitter, Kine. I'll leave his link in the description. He's just guided me through some of the modding for some of the stuff I didn't exactly know how to do. But without further ado, let's get into this race. Here we go, we're on the grid at Silverstone, the lights are coming on and we are ready to race. And it's lights out and away we go. The European Formula 3 season is underway. A fair bit of wheel spin off the line, not the start that we wanted. I think we're almost 4 wide as we head down into turn number 1. We're just going to send it, try to push ahead of all those cars, and we do manage to hold on to our 12th place. And now we're going to try to get up the inside of our teammate Guan Yu Zhou down into turn number 3, but now he has the advantage as we head through the loop. He's on the inside, but can I do him right around the outside using a fair bit of curve? through Aintree we go and out onto the Wellington Straight, still side by side with our Prima teammate. He's going to have the inside line as we get down to Brooklands. What can I do around the outside? The advantage is going to come back to me into Luffield if I can hold it, and yes we can. Just about keeping up the inside of our Chinese teammate, but he's done me right around the outside of Luffield. Impressive driving there from Guan Yu Zhou. We're going to have to sit in behind the Primas. It looks like we have Aberdeen looking up our inside possibly as we head into comps. We leave him a little bit of space. We don't have contact early in the race, and we get through there unscathed. And now into Maggots and Beckett's we do go on lap number 1. It looks like there's a bit of a train forming just up ahead of us. Not too sure what has happened here, and they look a little bit disjointed from a pack further up in the field. It looks like the top 4 have broken away just a little bit. Then we have a little bit of a train here. Maybe someone picked up a little bit of damage and is going a bit slower than everyone else does expect. Actually, that looks like Palau possibly there in the front of this train. No, it is actually a Carlin. I do apologize. It's hard to tell sometimes as they are really going at it. But Ralph Aron, our teammate, has held the lead of this Grand Prix. Robert Schwartzman just in there behind him, as well as Alex Palau going with that front pack. It looks like it's a 3-car breakaway at the front. So we have yellow flags out. What has happened? It looks like Ferdinand Habsburg is now out of this race. Not too sure where that has happened on the track. I believe he was behind us as we are closing up to our Prima teammates into this train. As out through Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight we do go. Confirmation Habsburg is out of the Grand Prix. And we still have Jonathan Aberdeen for company as we're not quite close enough to make a move on Guan Yu Zhou just yet. As this really is quite a train. You can see we've got the 2 Primas in front of us. That looks like Dan Ticktum, Enam Ahmed, Mick Schumacher, Yuri Vips, and then the 2 Collins of Sasha Fenestraz and Jehan Daruvala right at the front, as Schwartzman has actually taken the lead from Ralph Aron, as it looks like they're heading down to Maggots and Beckett's. That is very risky between the Prima teammates racing for the lead through Maggots and Beckett's, as we are closing back up to Guan Yu Zhou, trying to get a nice run through Maggots and Beckett's into his slipstream. We do go tucked right in under that Prima's rear wing, trying to get a nice run down this back straight. What can we do? Can we just send it up the inside into Stowe? I think we can look up the inside of our teammate, and a nice clean move. We get that done, and we move ourselves up into 11th place. We come to the end of lap number 2, and now DRS is about to be enabled. This is where all the fun begins. Obviously, no DRS in real life Euro F3, but we can't exactly mod that out of the game. Plus, it does make the racing a little bit better, and this is where all the fun is going to really kick off. Here we go, out of Maggots and Beckett's, through Chapel and onto the Hangar Straight. DRS flaps open for the first time in this race, and we just don't have the run on Marcus Armstrong as he has a nice toe, and DRS as well as up into Stowe we do go. And it looks like the top 4 have actually broken already. Daruvala has got away with that front 3 as well. I do apologize there. And Yuri Vips has just found his way past Sasha Fenestraz for the front of this train, which is 5th place, as we end lap number 3. On to lap number 4, and the pit stops are actually going to be getting closer. Not too long until we do have to make them, of course. Not something we normally see in Euro F3, but again, something we can't really mod out of the game. But it doesn't really affect the strategy because it is only a 25% race, as we're really closing up to Marcus Armstrong as we head through the loop back onto the power up into overtake mode on the ERS. Again, something that's probably not true to real life with Euro F3, having the ERS as well to manage. It looks like there is a move further up in the pack. Mick Schumacher trying to get past. I assume that is Sasha Fenestraz. No, that is Yuri Vips, as Fenestraz has already got back past Yuri for the front of this train, and those two are really going at it as we're just sort of stuck in behind Marcus. We just can't really do anything. Our pace is so even, and we both have a nice toe. We both have DRS that we can't actually make an overtake right now. Oh, here comes Guan Yu Zhou up our inside down into turn number 1. I did turn my ERS down a little bit to try to save a bit of battery, and we almost paid the price for that because we are in such a big battle pack. We do hold on to this position just for now, but we've lost a little bit of ground to our teammate. Marcus Armstrong is out. Onto the Wellington Straight we do go. We do still have DRS to help ourselves defend, but Guan Yu Zhou has a better run up our inside. He does go as we head down into Brooklands. Can I hold this right around the outside and get the inside line into Luffield? Yes, I can. Side by side with our Prima teammate, but this time I do prevail and I hold on to this 11th place. I do believe we're going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Oh, someone's got wide. That's a Prima. Not too sure who that is. We're going to sneak around the outside of that. That was Mick Schumacher as we are coming into the pit lane at the end of lap number 5. We just slow it down in time. I believe that was Mick. Of course, I haven't got any name tags over because the modding on F1 2018 has been really affected by Codemasters moving the localization files and encrypting them a lot more, so I have to use this timing tower and no overhead names. I'm pretty sure that was Mick Schumacher. It definitely wasn't Ralph Lauren, I don't believe, as into the pit lane we do going into our box. We're going to be getting rid of these softs, putting on some mediums, and then going to the end of this race, and we do have to wait just a little bit. That's not ideal, and I think we have been jumped, possibly by Guan Yu Zhou. I'm not exactly sure who that was, or if did Zhou even pit? No, he didn't. That was actually Marcus Armstrong jumping out in front of us, I do believe. Oh, it's actually a VAR. I was so in my head thinking that was a Prima, but that's a VAR. That is Sophia Flörsch has just jumped up ahead of us, so not an ideal pit stop, as now we need to get some temperature into these medium tires and make this one lap undercut sort of work. Oh, we have, I think that is Alex Palau in the high-tech Bullfrog right up behind us. He is really hurt in the pit lanes. He was in that battle for the lead, and now he's battling with me, and we're both behind a Van Amersfoort car. So that has really not gone well for the Spaniard as we head through Maggots and Beckett's, and now you can see a lot of the drivers that didn't pit on the last lap and now into the pit lane, including our main teammate Robert Schwartzman from the lead of the race. He was battling with Ralph Lauren. Where is he going to come out? Is he going to get held a little bit like we did? We're about to find out, as through Stowe we do go, and it's also going to be interesting where we actually filter back into this race, because right now we are lapping around in 16th place, which is not where we want to be at all. As through the last few corners we do come to end at lap number 6 and start the 7th lap, which is the halfway point of this Grand Prix, and that bad run through Club has got Palau up our inside through turn number 1. We're still side by side with the high-tech Bullfrog, and we do get back up his inside through Farm, and that looks like Jonathan Aberdeen, who was popped out right in front of us. That has not worked, been jumped by Aberdeen, and we've dropped down into 12th place. We've got past Palau, but Sophia Flörsch and Jonathan Aberdeen have gotten past us, and we are now back outside of the points. We've got a little bit of work to do if we do want to score points here on debut, as it looks like Ralph Lauren is leading the race now quite comfortably from Yuri Vips, and Enam Ahmed, who is in that pack we were in, has found himself in a podium place. Oh, a nice run through Maggots and Beckett's, are really tucked under the wing of that motor park with DRS, and we should be able to breeze past Aberdeen and up into 11th place. It looks like the 2 cars ahead, 3 cars even in that pack, are fighting quite hard over those last 3 points paying positions. That is Sophia Flörsch, Dan Ticktum, and Mick Schumacher, and we are closing up to them. If they fight, we're going to continue to close up. We could get all the way up into 8th place in this race. Not quite the result that we necessarily wanted, but still points I'd be very happy with. But we still have someone else to worry about, the motor park of Jonathan Aberdeen up our inside through turn number 1, and not much we could do there to defend. We tried around the outside as we lock up down into turn number 3 and come very, very close to contact with that motor park, and back down into 12th place we do go, and now onto the Wellington Straight. We lost a bit of time because of that lock up, and we're not quite close enough to make a big attack at that motor park. We're just going to have to sit in behind him for the rest of this lap, at least until the Hangar Straight, I would say. Oh, a nice run through Maggots and Beckett's out through Chapel, trying to get to the outside of Jonathan Aberdeen with the DRS flap open, and we breeze past that motor park back up into 11th place, and now hopefully he does go away for a little bit so we can set our sights on this 3-way battle for 8th just up ahead of us. Oh, here comes Jonathan Aberdeen. We're going to try going defensive this time into turn number 1, and we do manage to hold on to that position this time with that defensive line, and now hopefully we can try to set our sights on this big paddle in front of us. You can see there's 3, and then another big train of about 4 or 5 just in front of them. This is most of the points positions all in our sights here. We're just not quite close enough to attack yet. We're just a little bit further back, and we have Aberdeen harassing us. These 3 in front have been scrapping quite hard, and we've finally clawed our way up into the DRS range of Ticktum, Schumacher, and Sophia Flörsch. It looks like Schumacher has gone a little bit deep down into Brooklands as he is fighting with Ticktum, and Sophia is actually at the front of this 3-car train. They have been moving around just a little bit, and we still have someone for company, and that is Alex Palau. So we're heading down to Comps. He's going to try and up our inside. I've been trying to save battery as much as I can, but we hold it around the outside of Comps. Actually, we're still side by side with the high-tech Bullfrog as we head down into Maggots and Beckets, and yes, we can hold on to this position, and that's just going to hurt us in our pursuit of this three-way fight just in front of us, and we're going to have to up the ERS just a little bit. I've been trying to save that as much as I can, but we don't have any DRS to defend from Palau, but he's not going to be quite close enough, thankfully. Oh, these three are starting to really trip over each other as through Woodcote we go on lap number 11 of 13 here in race number 1 at Silverstone. It looks like they're about to go side by side into Comps. That is Sophia Flörsch and Dan Ticktum. Can they hold it side by side? Yes, they can. It looks like the motor park has lost out. Now Mick Schumacher is trying to take advantage of this as we head down into Maggots and Beckets, and I'm just trying to work out where to place my car through this S's, and we get a nice run on Ticktum. We get past Ticktum up into the points now, and in the slipstream of Mick Schumacher, our teammate. Can we get up his inside as we head up towards Stowe? Yes, we can, and that is 2 places. Thank you very much, and we are now into 9th place, and now we set our sights on the Van Amersfoort car of Sophia Flörsch as we have 2 laps left here at Silverstone for race number 1, as Ralph Aron is continuing to lead this race from Juri Vips, whereas our teammate, other teammate I should say, Rob Schwartzman, has dropped all the way down to 18th place in today's Grand Prix. Not too sure what has happened there to Rob. We have a nice run on Sophia Flörsch. Can we get up her inside into turn number 3? A big lock up. I think we just about get that move done. She looks to our outside into the loop, but we have the inside line, and we are now up into 8th place, but we are going to be vulnerable down this straight as they have DRS. I do not. I have nothing to defend with, but they're not going to be quite close enough down into Brooklyn, so we can hold on to 8th place for now. That battle pack you can just see up ahead of us, that is actually for 3rd place, a podium position, but we're now onto the last lap here in race number 1 at Silverstone. We're not going to be close enough to do anything about that podium fight, but we have broken away from Sophia Flörsch, Mick Schumacher, and I believe it was Dan Ticktum, and it looks like Alex Palau has now got himself involved in that battle, so we should be safe in 8th place as long as I drive a little bit better than I have there through Luffield, getting in the wrong gear and just getting a whole lot of understeer through that long right-hander. But only a few corners to go now, and we should be able to hold on to 8th place, taking home 4 points in race number 1. Not exactly what we wanted, but considering where we qualified, up 4 places, can't complain too much about that. Oh, it looks like our rear wing has actually failed the DRS flap, but that doesn't matter as we are only 3 corners away from the checkered flag as our teammate Ralph Aron has won race number 1 at Silverstone from Juri Vips, and Jehan Daruvala just beating out his teammate Sasha Fenestraz for that podium place in that big battle pack we did see just up ahead of us on the road. So Ralph Aron has won race number 1 of the European Formula 3 Championship with Juri Vips and Jehan Daruvala joining him on the podium. Daruvala just edged out his teammate Sasha Fenestraz for that final podium place, with our teammate Marcus Armstrong getting all the way up into 5th place, just ahead of Enam Ahmed and another one of our teammates, Guan Yu Zhou, there in 7th. Of course, I finished there in 8th place, and a decent result there for Marcus Armstrong, Guan Yu Zhou, and myself. We started 10th, 11th, and 12th on the grid. We finished 6th, 7th, and 8th on the track. A pretty decent result there, all making up a fair few positions. We can't be too displeased with that. And then Alex Palau actually jumped ahead of that 3-way battle to get 9th place, and Mick Schumacher did secure that final point with Sophia Flörsch just missing out on points there in 11th place, and Dan Ticktum there in 12th. And if we do look further down in the order, our teammate Robert Schwartzman, who started this race on the front row of the grid, only managed to finish in 18th place. Not too sure what happened there to Rob throughout this race, but his race definitely did not go to plan. I think he got a bit caught up in the pit stop phase and got dropped down through the field. And then, of course, Ferdinand Habsburg did not finish the race. So that is going to do it for episode number 1 of this brand new series. If you guys did enjoy it, I'd very much appreciate it if you did like the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I put a lot of work into this mod, hours upon hours making this mod and getting it ready for this series, and I must say, race number 1 has been a lot of fun. I have enjoyed it. Our qualifying didn't go to plan. Our first stint wasn't the best in the world. We couldn't quite attack the cars in front of us, and we had to do a bit more defending than I would have liked. But in that second stint, we really got got our head down. We made about 4 passes, I believe, on Aberdeen, Schumacher, Ticktum, and Sophia Flörsch to get up into 8th place. So the second stint I was quite happy with, but the first didn't quite go to plan, and hopefully we can learn upon what we did here in race 1 and use that to our advantage in race 2 and hopefully actually qualify a little bit further up the grid. And that video should be up same time tomorrow for episode number 2 and race 2 here at Silverstone. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.